Hello, SHEmantrans, and welcome to Coffee Mantras, Love Mantras, where we are speaking to experts in various fields to gather nuggets that help us understand how to enhance love. Today, we have a SHEmantran who really doesn't need an introduction. She is an ICF-PCC transformational premarital and postmarital relationship coach. She is the founder of Enablance, a woman mentor and a sought after speaker on national and international platforms. She is our guru for relationships, and we all love her. Please help me welcome Preeti Khare to Coffee Mantras, Love Mantras. Welcome, Preeti.
Hi, Kavita. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
As always, smiling, and that's what we love about you, Preeti. And I have been following you on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I just love all the nuggets you share with us, and I love the bite size that it comes in. So it's easy to understand and put into practice.
Mm.
And Preeti, you are aware of the age group that we all are in Shimantra, and I've
Yeah.
been doing some research on what are some of the common things that plague relationships at this stage in our lives. And my research shows that it is communication skills. And I
Mm.
was pretty shocked because I thought as we get older, we get better at communication. And also at Shimantra, we are a group of coaches, trainers. We teach other people to communicate better. But I know, having spoken to so many, that we all struggle with this. So the first question to you is, how do we make the communication in our relationships with our children or with our partners more loving and more successful?
Yeah, so it's such a beautiful question. And Kavita, you rightly put that we all know and we operate from that mindset that the pillars of a good relationship are trust, our respect, our love. But actually, communication, you rightly said, is the most important pillar because ultimately your trust, your respect, anything, love, is communicated through our words and our gestures that we show to our partners, our children, our spouse, in-laws, parents, etc., etc. Yeah, and the way we think about our relationship and our partner or the fellow beings actually matters a lot on how we communicate. So you must have seen, Kavita, whenever we actually want to even have a good conversation with somebody, we make our minds कि नहीं नहीं आज तो बात करेंगे तो बहुत अच्छे से करेंगे, even a tough conversation also you want to have with in a nicer way, in a pleasant way. You go, you prepare yourself, but when you approach the person, you actually begin to talk, and the kind of replies that you get or the kind of facial expressions that you see, they make you go in the direction that you already have the preconceived notions for. Right, we all do that we put people bases our experiences with them on certain buckets, right? This person behaved this way, this person says this way, iske baad yahi aane wala hai. We all know that with each other we do quite a lot, and then again that conversation that was to be peaceful, the trigger happens from the other person, and then we just get carried away. So the thoughts that we have about any person are that are the bases actually that are going to govern what are the beliefs that you hold about that person and are going to dictate your actions and your behavior, right, during that conversation. So I like to draw a parallel here, Kavita, that I feel very strongly that it's all about the mindset. So if you remember the book that Carol Dweck wrote, which is called Mindset, the New Psychology of Success, and there she talks about two mindsets, which is fixed and growth mindset. And when I like to talk about the relationships, I like to talk about the two mindsets, even in relationships that we hold. So when we approach, like the example that I gave you, when we approach a conversation, we hold certain notions about this person, and then we begin to think about that person in that way, right? So, for example, uh, Somebody with a fixed mindset would think about the partner like this, that they should know what makes me feel hurt. They should know what makes me feel loved. Let me give you an example here. Very recently, Valentine's went, right? So many of us had so many wishes that our partners, our spouses should gift us, flowers, chocolates, gifts, take us on the date nights, blah, blah, blah. But, the statistics says, and we all know, how many of us actually communicated that to our partners when we wanted, something, that we need these things. A lot of times, we being women, we expect certain things from the spouses, not really understanding that this is not always the way their mind operates. Some men are different. They could think about gifts. They think about, relationship, or that these things matter, gifting flowers, gifting chocolates. Some men don't. For some men, their way of showing care could be very, very different. So, but how many of us really communicated that I like flowers and I would love to get some flowers, or I would love to get some chocolates or whatever. So the person with the growth mindset would always think that they should know how to make me feel loved, while a growth mindset person would actually think that I believe I believe my partner can learn how to love me if I communicate very clearly and they work hard on it. So that's the difference. And sometimes our egos pull us down. We don't communicate. Sometimes it is just, putting people in the bucket, saying that inka kuch nahi ho sakta. He doesn't know how to, that he's been very unreasonable. He likes to be given, but doesn't like to get, blah, blah, blah. So I think what is needed is really understanding that our thoughts are incredibly powerful. And then they are going to, help us make certain beliefs about those people. And these beliefs are actually going to govern our actions. So if we can begin to become very flexible, move from the fixed mindset and really come to the growth mindset style of communication, where we can be open and think differently, saying that, not holding any fixed
Thought, fixed idea.
thought, yeah, idea about relationship, right? That sometimes हम relationship के बारे में भी ऐसे ही सोचते हैं, that there's no point, I shouldn't have to work at my relationship. If it has not been good so far, it won't be good any further, right? So many times people just give up. And like what you're talking about, whether it is She Mantra or any household where men are in the age bracket of 45, 50, there's so many couples that come to me now, being in the relationship area, where they talk about there's absolutely no communication in the house. This person is working, in his room, and I am working in my room, and there is nothing that we can talk on, because we have somewhere resigned, Kavita, I feel, given into this thought that iska kuch nahi ho sakta. If I'm going to come and talk about this person is going to actually reply me. We even know the answers. And that is where we're operating from a fixed mindset. We're not allowing ourselves to think that relationships go through the periods of lows and highs, and that we can get through this if both of us are ready to make those consistent efforts, right? So I think what is required is really being expressive, really being able to express clearly what you want. Men, so many times when they come to me, they say, I don't understand what she wants, but if she tells me that she wants it, I would be willing to do twice as much. And it is sometimes I feel, they feel helpless as well. They feel helpless because they don't understand what's going on in your mind, what you would love. So being expressive could definitely help. And it is very, very important to bring some flexibility into our thinking in order to, open up that space for growth. And you can do that in the smallest of the ways, Kavita, I feel, by simply just paying attention to the language that you use. Saying that, oh, you're good for nothing, or it is very unreasonable on your part, or you always do this. way, just being softening that side of it and just leaving that space for the person to grow in that space. So softening up those fixed statements and getting into that growth mindset when it comes to relationships, I think.
Thank you, Preeti. Like they say, right? The biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And
Yeah.
most times, and I think, one of the things I always tell my husband is, we've been married for 34 years. You still don't know me. You didn't do this. You didn't do, like you're saying. Maybe men are just wired that way, and we as women
Yes.
have to say, like
Yeah.
sometimes I want to go out for dinner, and I'll say, "Do you feel like eating out today?" He'll say, "No." And I
Hmm.
need to tell him the next day, when I say that, it means I want to go out for dinner. He's like, I
Yeah.
can't think all this. When you asked me and I didn't want dinner, I didn't want dinner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if I had just said, shall we go out for dinner? He probably would have said yes. So makes a
True.
lot of sense, Preeti. Thank you.
Yeah, true. And also, Kavita, I think, one of the things that I've also seen is that um, our expectations are one thing we expect, and then if they don't get met, our needs and expectations, we feel hurt. And
Mhm.
then when, we say certain things that, okay, you did not do that, the other person gets it, it's a vicious cycle.
Yes, it is.
How many times actually we take a minute and really, set those goals like other goals that we set in our lives, where we know that with this person for next 6 months, I have this goal to maybe continuously every day give this person a compliment,
Yeah.
or just appreciate, celebrate this person. We all do when we get married, when we are early on in our relationships, we do that, right? This is good about you. This is good about you. This is what I like about you. This is when you look good. We stop to do with each other. We stop to celebrate each other, I feel. And it's very important to kind of let the other person feel celebrated, that you are valued, in each other's lives. And that makes a whole lot of a difference, because people then begin to take genuine interest in you. Otherwise, they also sort of, it's only up to the
Yes.
expectations and the needs, and nothing gets met. And then there is a hurt, and then a hurt again.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to celebrate. People in SHEmantran, or people in our age group, I think we forget to do that. We need to sort of reignite that. And one practice that we can, start to do, which is very easy, just soften the statements, the tough statements, and begin to celebrate, begin to appreciate, acknowledge.
And
Could
one
be,
word that comes to my mind is love unconditionally, maybe, or
oh
just
yeah,
love. Love the
just love.
person back. Because I think as the years go by, I think another problem that sets in is being taken for granted. Right? We take each other for granted so
Absolutely.
much that we, like the simple things that you're saying, just appreciating somebody, we don't remember to do it. So
Yeah,
that is great. So communicate
yeah,
that, set your expectations or your goals, and don't
yeah,
take each other for granted, always shower
yeah,
each other with love. I'm glad
yes.
my husband is not listening to this, because he would make me right now.
Yeah, sure.
So, Preeti, I
Yeah,
mean, already so much time has passed. So, just had one more question for you.
sure.
Like, is there something that we all can start practicing right now, today, to get us to the next level in our relationships with our, I mean, I'm looking at our partners today with you, because you are a
Yes.
relationship coach, and we all want to have loving, harmonious relationships. So, give us some tips right away.
Oh, sure. So, Kavita, I talk in my workshops a lot about this model that I have developed, which is, again, I would tie it with the communication part piece, that, it is important that everything that happens is verbal or non-verbal communication. So, taking that, as the baseline, there is this model called LEARN. I call it LEARN, which is L stands for listening. We all want to be heard, all of us, both parties, or spouses or partners don't, but they actually have this strong urge to be heard also. So listening with full presence, if we can listen to each other. L. E is for empathy. And when I say empathy, empathy is for any act of kindness, one act of kindness that we can do towards our children, our spouses, in form of words or an act. Could be anything, but every day make it a point that you show. It could be as simple as a glass of water. that you can just go if the other person you feel has been working on a stable for a long time, you know. E is empathy. A is acknowledge and appreciate. I think this is the cornerstone. We all need to acknowledge what the other person does and also appreciate, you know, if not daily basis, but very frequently, you know, for the things that he or she is bringing into your life. It could be just simple joy, it could be simple whatever it is, right? R is for respect, where I talk about respecting the boundaries. We all need to draw certain boundaries, and then other person also needs to respect it, and we need to respect it at the same time as well. And N stands for notice or paying attention. So when other person is doing something, and if it is left unseen or not paid attention to, whether it could be an emotional bit that I've been talking in so many videos these days, that, you know, when somebody says sometime that I'm feeling cold, not necessarily does he need a blanket. He needs your hug. He needs just to be, you know, paid attention to that bid or the cue that he is giving. So I think paying attention is very important. So notice, N is notice. The LEARN is the model that I would like to leave you all with. And this has everything to do with what you can, you know, take from it and improve your relationships for sure.
Fantastic. I mean, that's what I like about your videos and your Instagram page, because you give us these little acronyms to, you know, easily apply in our life. Thank you for that acronym. So the acronym is LEARN. If you use LEARN, you get a lot more love in your life. That's what I'm thinking, right? And
Yeah.
relationship just become better. And I think
Yeah.
that model can be used for all relationship. It's not just with your spouse, but with your
Yeah.
children, with anyone, with your friends.
Anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it
Yeah.
just makes us a little more aware of what you are bringing into the relationship as a person. So thank you
Right,
so much,
right,
Preeti.
right. And the idea, Kavita, is also because why I feel it's learn. I just wanted one good sentence is that l- learn. I call it learn only because all these skills, LEARN, can be acquired. They can be learned.
Yes.
So you can learn to listen if you have not been doing so far, and every other thing you can learn. And that is why it is called learn. And that I leave it with you all to learn it today.
Thank you so much, Preeti. And sorry we've run out of time, but I'm
Sure.
sure we'll learn from you a lot
Yeah.
more in coming days. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Kavita. Thank you very much. Bye bye.